Good morning, Standard 9 students. Today I shall be teaching you A Horse and Two Goats by R.K. Narayan. Now, this particular story is an amusing story where we have two characters in conversation and both of them do not understand each other's language. Now Mundi, the main protagonist of the story, he only knows Tamil and only a few words in English. That is yes, 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 or no, 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 no. Okay. Now this is the way when you talk to him, he will say yes, yes. Now whether he understands you or not, that is not counted. Now he comes across an American tourist. Now the American tourist does not know any other language other than speaking in English. So when these two come in conversation with each other, they don't understand, but when they are communicating, it appears as if they understand each other. It is because of the lip movement, according to the situation, the environment, okay, and according to the gesture, the action, when you look here or look there, all right. So, communication. When you speak to another person, you must be very clear so that the person understands. Either you speak the same language or you speak through signs. Okay. So this story is based on two people having a conversation, then having a business transaction, and how things go wrong. And the person, Mundi, he is a very innocent man, but he, at the end, he is not able to prove himself innocent. Even his wife feels that he is, or he has robbed the money. It's a very nice story. So I told you a small example about Mr. John, who had come down to India and the government had given him a bungalow and a servant. But the servant did not know English and neither Mr. John knows Hindi. So he used to have a lot of problems when he used to instruct Ramu to open the door or close the door. Ramu would just stare into his face, would not respond to whatever Mr. John would tell him. So he was facing this problem, and one day in his office, a friend of his noticed that Mr. John was having some problems. And so he asked him, "What is the problem, Mr. John?" He says, "I don't understand. When I tell Ramu to the servant to open the door or to close the door, he would not do it." Then Mr. Chatterjee, his friend, tells him, "Don't worry. When you want Ramu to open the door, you tell Ramu there was a cold day. Okay. And when you want Ramu to close the door, tell him there was a bad car." Right? Now, when John would say, it would sound like this: "Ramu, There was a cold day. At once Ramu went and opened the door. Okay. And then again, when he wanted Ramu to close the door, again he would say, Ramu, there was a bankar. So, at once Ramu would go and close the door. So, but not all foreigners get some good Samaritans to help them solve these problems. So in this story, it's very funny, it's very amusing. And if you pay attention to the story nicely, you will enjoy it. And even in your free time, when you think about how Munni had communicated with the American, it will make you laugh. But first of all, we have to get the setting of the story correctly. Okay. Now this story is based on a little village named Kritam. Now Kritam is not very easily located in the survey map. The dots that resemble villages cannot be seen because Kritam is a very small village and the dot is so small because according to the size of the dot shows how big the village is. So this village is so small. So to locate that dot you have to see it through a microscope. Okay. The name is Kritam. It's a small place, but the name is beautiful. The name has got some meaning. And Kritam means a coronet or a crown. So that adds some significance or some added beauty to this particular village. Now this village consists of 30 houses. When I say 30 houses means villages, they live in huts. Okay. Out of the 30 houses, there is only one house which is made out of brick and cement. And that the walls of that houses were actually based yellow and blue, and they had these carvings, paintings of gods fighting against the demons and all that. So, and it is popularly known as the big house. So, the most prominent house in that village was known as the big house. Munni, the protagonist of our story, the main hero, okay, his house is at the end of the 4th Street. And after his house, there is a huge stretch of agricultural fields. When we talk about fields, we are talking about the land that is used for agricultural purposes. Okay. Now, this particular Munni, the main hero, he had owned about 40 sheep and goats in his prosperous days. Now, that means now we are talking about Munni leading a life of poverty. So the introduction of Munni was sometimes back. He was doing well in life. So, and he owned 40 sheep and goats. Now what he would do in the mornings, he would take this cattle and he would go towards the highway. Okay. Where he used to go, or would generally go, there was a statue of a horse. So Munni would park himself over there while his cattle had grazed. Then, when it is becoming dark, then Munni would take his sheep and goats back. Okay. Now, while Munni would go or take his cattle to graze, he also carried a pole with a hook. So, in the process, he would break down leaves, he would gather dry leaves, dry sticks, tie them in a bundle, and he would come home with them. And his wife would use the dry sticks, the dry leaves as fuel. The other green leaves would be food for the goats. So this was Munni's lifestyle. Now when things went wrong, when he was running out of luck, gradually the number from 40 started diminishing, becoming less. And then finally, he ended up with only 2 goats. Now, in this life of poverty, in the mornings, Munni's wife would light a chulla and she would put a pot of water to boil. And while the water was boiling, she would throw in some millet flour, put some salt, and give it to Munni to eat as breakfast, like a soup. Okay, like a porridge. Then she would dry that down and then make it into a ball and add or put onion and pack it up for Munni's lunch. Okay. So then Munni would go take his 2 goats and then he would relax under the statue. While it was time for him, when it was time for him to eat, then he would eat that millet flour with onions. And then when it's time to come home, he would gather dry leaves and sticks and all. So that was his normal lifestyle. Okay. I'll keep it till here. Then I will send the soft copy of the lesson to you, since most of you have not yet bought your books. Thank you.